Hi, this is Aaron with iBoard Repair and iPhone Data Recovery, and today I will be working on an iPhone 7 Plus. This phone is super corroded, and I'm not excited to do it because I don't like to see this when I open the phone. It's just a lot of corrosion. So sometimes it's not as bad as it looks, but this one looks really bad. I think it's going to be bad. So I'm going to go ahead and take this motherboard out of the housing and going to get right started on it. Be right back with that. Okay, board is out. Let's take a look at it. Okay, what do we see? We see a lot of corrosion. I guess I'll pull that off later. Up here, a lot of corrosion. It's going to be corrosion everywhere. What do I expect? Ton of corrosion, ton of corrosion, ton of corrosion, ton of corrosion. I bet under here there's going to be a ton of corrosion. What do you know? I'm wrong. There's moderate corrosion. Up here there's a lot, but down here it's pretty clean. So that's nice to see. So the biggest roadblock for me with these phones is really just like the intimidation factor. I open it up and I see how corroded it is, and I just don't want to work on it. But having said that, once you just get started with it, they tend to be not as bad as they look, or it tends to be like less work than you expect it's going to be. That's not always the case, of course, but a lot of the time it's not too bad. Awesome, and under this section it looks great as well. So that is wonderful to see. So when I first looked at the front of this, I didn't think it was going to be this clean on the back. There are obviously some very severe spots that look like they had ocean damage, because it looks like I see a lot of salt in here. But there's a ton of clean spots, like chestnut's perfectly clean. I probably won't have to change that, which is my image chip. The backlight chips are good. The charging IC is good. The charging logic is good, it looks like. Most of this is all good. So it's just going to be some basic cleanup, some VDD main short clearing. I might have some image filters bad down here, but maybe not. I don't quite remember where they are. And then under here there's probably going to be at least some corrosion. But we can go ahead and get right started, and hopefully this job doesn't take too long. This person actually sent two phones at once, which is pretty rare. She just had her old phone sitting in a drawer that she wanted data from, that she just put to the side, knowing that she'd want data from it someday. So the first phone, she remembered her password, so that's great. So I expect she's going to know the password on this one as well. That's always something that sucks, is when you work on an old phone. Customers almost always say they remember the password, but a lot of the time they're wrong, and then they just have no idea what it is. And then without the password, we can't pull the data. So I'm going to remove this top CPU shield so I can take a look at it. This is probably, I probably won't even have to remove this other shield down here. So this might be the only shield I have to remove. What I'm really happy about so far is like the image chip, the charging chip, that area is clean. So there's a real good chance I might not even have to replace anything on this phone. It's just probably going to be about removing components. I much prefer to just remove things than to replace them. Obviously it's less work. But a lot of the times these jobs will come down to just removing the shorts that are on the motherboard. For example, if they're underneath like the camera ICs or like fingerprint sensor or speakers, none of those chips are needed in order to turn the phone on, but they can cause problems if they're shorted. So the best way to deal with it is just to remove them. Remove the variables, learn which chips you don't need on the motherboard, so you can just take them off when you suspect there's shorts underneath them. And under this area it looks not too bad. Most of this is just gonna brush away. So this is great. So when I look at this job, I thought it was going to be just so terrible. And like I said, just a lot of the time, it's just not as bad as it looks. And the biggest hurdle is starting these ones because of the intimidation factor when you first open them and see how terrible they look. But when you get down to it, this one, I don't think it's going to be that difficult. I'm going to remove a couple of chips, remove a couple of shorted caps, and then I'm going to see if it boots. Looks like one of these caps, that top one right there, may be short. I don't know what line that is, but I'll check right now. I'll pull open my board view software so I can see what line that is. I'm working on an iPhone 7 Plus. And it was this third cap up here, I think. Which one? One of these ones. It's either NFC or VDD main. Most likely VDD main. Let's see. Yeah, that one on the left. VDD main. So I'm sure that cap... Well, the line's probably short no matter what. So it's going to show short, even if it's not that cap. But that cap looks pretty bad. Yeah, it's just falling apart. That is absolutely short. There's no reason to keep it on there. If you see, you can just see it's already cracked. So a lot of the time I just rely on visual inspection, because you can see this is just a terrible looking cap and it's going to be short. If I measure it, just so you guys can see, you'll see that it's short. You should not have continuity across the capacitor, and you do, so that cap was short. So remove that, but I'm sure that's not the only short on the line. There's going to be other shorts here that are still pulling down VDD main. Like this guy here, he's always short. There's like some 16-volt line under there, so the high voltage always causes a lot of corrosion when it gets exposed to water. So let's just pull this chip off. This chip is not needed. I can never quite remember what this chip does because I mainly do data recovery, so I just always take it off. I don't need it there. It's an NFC chip, so this one isn't the 16-volt one, but this one does have 5 volts running through it. Yeah. So NFC chips are... NFC chips, when they're missing, they can cause problems, but not this little one. This big one needs to be there, otherwise it will freeze on the last digit of entering the passcode and it won't let you pass that screen. But it doesn't seem to mind when this chip's gone. I guess I'll clean it a little bit before I pull it off. I'm just gonna cut away this top frame just so I can really clean under there because there's so much corrosion under there. I don't know if any of these are like I2C line resistors that are required. I can't quite remember, so I'll have to double check that. But it looks like that's the main area I have to focus on. There's a little bit down here going on. I think these are actually image lines that connect to Chestnut here. I believe so. I'll have to double check that as well. But this is the main area. Once this is clean, there might be a short right here. These are also VDD main, and there's some VDD main up here, and VDD boost, which is the boost circuit to the phone. I might have some problems there, but I think that's going to be the majority of where the problems are. I'll have to double check right here. I know that one of these filters controls the home button. And if we update the phone, then we'll have to fix that, because once you update it, you have to press the home button to get to the next screen. But I'm going to try to avoid updating this. I don't think I'll have to. It's just great to see how clean some of these spots are. That is wonderful. Okay, let's pull off this frame now. That should be enough. Let's brush this area. Yeah, and some of these components just brushed right off because they were so loosely connected to the board. This doesn't look good. I wonder what line that is. PP1V1. This little cap right here is also on the line, it looks like. So let's just see if that line's short. Okay, so that line is short. So good thing we spotted that, because that's not a common line to be short, and that's not a common, spot for most people to check. Most people probably would have missed this cap, but just from how bad it looks, I think that it's shorted right there. So I'll go ahead and pull that off, and I'll check if the line's still short after. And there it goes. We're normal. Okay, good thing we spotted that. That could have definitely been a problem. It would have been a problem, I mean. But I most likely would have applied voltage to it if I didn't see it right away. And, the phone may not have liked that. I mean, it definitely wouldn't have turned on, but it could have potentially ruined the chances of recovering data. Most likely it wouldn't have, but you still don't like to apply voltage to the phone when things are shorted. I don't really think any of these are I2C lines, but let me double check up here. I2C lines are how the CPU communicates to different chips, and What is this one doing? I have no idea what this line does. Yeah, I2C lines are the way the CPU communicates with different chips, and if it's missing those, the CPU like locks up, it freezes, it doesn't know what it's doing, and it won't boot. So this little resistor might be important. I'm not 100% sure, but it goes to the CPU. There's a note here that says internal correction loop negative end. So I don't know what that means, but it's possible that whatever that is required. And that's this one right here. It doesn't look great, but it may not even be required. I'm not 100% sure what that one is. So let's see if we have still shorts on the board. I'm going to check VDD boost first because it's a much smaller circuit, so I can deal with it quicker if it's short. So it looks like it's partial short, and that actually may just be VDD main, because a VDD boost connects to VDD main through the boost chip itself, and I think when one line is short, it can show short on the other sometimes. I don't quite remember which way it does. Like if VDD main short, does it show on boost, or if boost short, does it show on main? I can never quite remember, but I know that one of those things happens. So let me just see if main is also short, and I'll just deal with main first after all, just in case it's that. So here's a main spot. Let's see if it's short there. And it is still short there. And it looks like it's the same short, 0.03, so it's a partial short. It's probably over here. That's where I see a lot of shorts happening. So where do I have boost? Where do I have main? Let's look at main first. I think this one's main, and it doesn't look great. Oh no, the one next to it. This one is main. Nope, still wrong. To the right of it. So this one's main. These might be okay after all. What is this thing? I think that's a camera filter. It has a 1v8 line going through it. We don't need this here, and I don't like it, so I'm going to take it off. Let's see. So I'll pop off both the VDD boost caps, because again, I don't remember which way. If one of these lines is short, it shows the other one short as well, and I can never quite remember which one is which. Let's just take these off. Oh, okay. It's not short anymore, 0.38. So that's good. So it was one of those. Let's see if main's still short. Main is still short. Okay, so once we find the main short, it may already be ready to boot. So let's see. Oh, I know where I saw some main caps that looked bad. These guys up here. So these are VDD main as well. So let's pop them off. We don't need them. Let's see if that cleared it. Nope, still short. So where else do I have main? There wasn't much over here. That looks fine. Yeah, it's probably still in this area up over here somewhere. Probably one of these two caps actually. So let's pull those off. Yeah, both of those look pretty bad. This one actually looked worse. I think that was probably the short, so maybe okay now. Yep, we're okay now. So, main is normal. Boost is normal. Let's double check our NAND caps down here. Actually, there is some corrosion down there, so hopefully it's not short. Nope, it's normal. The 1V8 line's normal, or is that the OV9? Let me see the other NAND power supply. It was OV9 is normal. Let's double check 1V8. So that would be the third one over here under the underfill. 1, 2, 3. If I can get to the metal. Yep, normal. CPU. Let's check the CPU lines real quick. Normal. Are those the same one? 28. No, those are the two separate ones. Normal. 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 For a second I wasn't sure, but yeah, that's normal. Yeah, everything looks fine to me. I actually think this phone will boot now. If it does, that's going to be great because I really expected this to be worse. I really expected I was going to hate this job, and so far it doesn't seem so bad. This is the last spot. I should probably check before I try to power it. It's the image lines. They might be backlight lines, actually. They seem good. So, I guess I will see what it does when I connect it to my DC power first. So my DC power supply is up here. I'll set it to 4 volts, or around there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so let me see where the power button line is, so I can short that. I think it's here. Yep. Okay, no prompt to boot before. No amp draw before prompt to boot, which I expected because I already double checked VDD main and VDD boost, which are the most common culprits for that problem. So I'll short the power button to turn the phone on and see what it does. So that's already a great sign. This looks like a normal boot sequence so far. Yeah, I don't need to let it keep going. That looks normal so far, so I'm going to go ahead and just grab a screen, a battery, and a charge port, and let's see if this boots. So give me 1 second while I grab that. Okay, I got my screen, battery, and charge port here, so let's connect it to the phone and see if we're done. That'd be great. I could fit in another job before the day's over, if that's the case. Let me answer that call before I do this. 1 moment. Okay, finished with the phone call, so let's see what this does. Is this in frame? Turn off some of these lights so you can see it better. Actually, let me just plug it in so we can see what it's doing. I don't know if the battery's doing anything weird right now, but while it's trying to, if something's still wrong. There we go. We got an Apple logo, so that's great. Let me see what the password is of this. $199,117. Just get rid of some of this glare. A 199,117. Aha, I think it's gonna boot. I saw the light changes slightly, which is right before, there it goes. 199,117. And there we go, we have access to the data. So this one was surprisingly fast. This is going to be my fastest video I have uploaded to YouTube at this point. I fully expected that this was going to be terrible and that I was going to spend several hours on it because of how bad the corrosion looked. And it's so funny that I was saying that it's oftentimes just not that bad when you just get right down to it, and a lot of the times it's just getting over the mental hurdle of seeing this terrible mess and not wanting to start it. I have 20 jobs in queue probably, so I have to choose wisely. If I think there's going to be a fast one, sometimes I have to do the fast ones first, and then the ones that look really bad, sometimes I push it to the end of the line because I think it's going to take forever. So I'm so happy that this one is done, that it's connected to the computer, or this one's actually just connected to the charge port, but it's no problem. This one was easy. I just had to remove some shorts. The one thing that a lot of other people probably would have missed on this one is that PP1V1 short. That's a CPU power rail, and that would have made this phone either sit at 0.06 amps and not go past it, or it would have pulled 0 amps and would have done nothing. And a lot of people would not have been able to find that one because that's a very obscure line. Not very many people check it. It's not even like a main CPU power rail. It's like a secondary one. I don't even think there's a coil that connects to the CPU like other CPU power rails. Either way, I'm glad I found that one really easily. I just saw a cap that didn't look great, and I double checked what it was, and that was important. Double check to make sure that VDD main was clear and VDD boost was clear, to make sure we're not like injecting any voltage into a shorted line or just somewhere that it could potentially damage the data. This one was great. It's done. Thanks for watching. I hope that you learned some of my techniques. This one wasn't too bad. It was pretty simple, but still hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.